Hello, everyone. Welcome to Y.E.A.S.T, your energetic, authentic self today. Hello, ladies. It's been a while. Good to see you. This is Sheila.
This is Hope.
This is Joy.
So we are coming together at a time when this is Asian Heritage Month, and it's also Mental Health Awareness Month. So it's a great opportunity for us to celebrate you, Hope and Joy, from an Asian Heritage Month, but also let's touch on mental health awareness. There's so much going on in our country and the world today, and multiple discussions around mental health. So I wanted to tap into your psyches, if you will, and see what you think about that.
Hey, thank you for celebrating with us for the Asian Heritage Month. We know there's a lot of history, a lot of great attribute in Asian community that we want to celebrate. But I think today we really want to talk about one thing that almost like a taboo in the Asian community, only because I think as a part of celebrating, we should also think about the opportunities we can move forward. And one thing is about the taboo, the stigma around the mental health issue in Asian community, because today I think there's still a lot of people in Asian community think that mental health is something that we shouldn't talk about. It's not something that we think is part of life. We don't think that it's similar as physical health, that you want to be healthy, you want to have a regular checkup, and when you need help, you can go ask for help. So I will actually start with myself. You probably will hear this for the very first time because I have never shared for the same reason I just mentioned. Over a decade ago, as you ladies know, that I was going through a divorce with my ex-husband. And I want to paint the picture then that my ex and myself with a young family, 2 young kids, I would say 7, 10-ish, very young, and no one else in this country. Our family are all in China, both his side and my side. And we're going through this turmoil that I didn't know then what would be my future. And I didn't know whether I can really handle raise 2 young kids with everything that I could. Are they going to be healthy? Are you going to be okay emotionally? Am I a good mom? I was asking a lot of those questions. And of course, for everyone who went through a divorce, and they would know how hard it is, even if you have all the support. With me, I didn't have any support. As a matter of fact, that I couldn't even talk about that topic with my parents, with my siblings, because there's another stigma about divorce in our culture. That could be another topic we can talk about. So I have a coworker who recommended me to utilize the EAP program, which is Employee Assistance Program at JP Morgan Chase. For that, I forever thank the company offered such a program. So I went in, and there's psychologists on site. You can talk to the person and talk about everything in your mind. Of course, when I first used it, I still have some disbelief. I would say that, will you keep everything confidential? Really? You said you're going to keep confidential. Will this impact me, my performance in any way? But gradually, I start to trust that person, that he's there, support me. I would say that during those difficult times, it really helped me tremendously. And of course, almost every single time I went in, talk, I wasn't prepared to cry, but I would, because every time when I talk about all the uncertainty, all the difficulty situations that I'm going through with two young kids, it just a lot for me to handle at that time. So because of this experience, I actually know the value that what professional can help us when we need that kind of help, whether you're depressed, anxious, or just don't know what's going to happen in the future. You can go to talk to a therapist, a psychologist, or even psychiatrist in that matter. So because I had this personal experience, and I actually was able to recommend that to other people when I heard who is going through some kind of hardship or loss of family or other difficulty situations. And I think this actually allowed me to have a new perspective on mental health and what the professional help can do to the people who need them. So I'll stop there. It's a long story. I'm surprised I didn't cry.
Well, thank you for sharing. And I will, once again, kind of kudos to you and exercising the employee assistance program. As an HR professional working for companies who have those programs, it is truly confidential. I know a lot of people, such as yourself, when you talk about you trusted whether that information would be shared, how it would affect your performance, perhaps your view on your professionalism. It is confidential. Companies provide it, majority of companies provide that at no cost to not just employees, it can be family members. If you have children who may be experiencing some type of issues within, school. And, as a parent, you may pick up on that, but the kids may not want to tell you, because as a parent, if my kids were telling me about certain things, like if they're being bullied, I'm at the school in somebody's face, right? So they may not want to share that with me. But it's, knowing that there's that resource out there for not just the employees, but family members as well. And once again, bravo to you for stepping out, stepping away from that stigma and how you might be viewed, and talking to someone, because mental health is important. We matter. What goes on in our heads definitely matters, and it helps to get that out. We know that as coaches even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I kind of think, it was a lot that was happening in your life. And, now we're talking one side of me wishing we were there with you back that time. I think we definitely will be helpful and support you through. But now I am also happy looking back. You are having a bright future. You probably never imagined you will be. Good job. Good job not only being dependent and also representing a great group of leaders and helping others, supporting others by actively sharing your insights. So I'm very proud of you. And I really appreciate, Sheila, your perspective talking about, sitting on the HR executive chair, what are the benefits and how does it work? I think a lot of people don't really know this side of the wellness program provided by the company. I know personally, I recommended a lot of people at my company, giving them information. Like during the pandemic, a lot of companies actually, enhance their program. For example, some companies double the hours. Our company had 8 hours, I remember. And during the pandemic, they increased it to 16 free hours for everybody. I think, you're right, Sheila. Like everyone will get 16 free sessions, and that applies to every member in the family. And they have a broad network. You can call to request a list of professionals that you decided who to reach out to, and a lot of places they make the process very easy. So making sure our audience definitely check out the resources available to them. and follow Hope's recommendation. If you feel you want to talk to somebody, right? It doesn't need to be, the life altering event like a divorce or, the teenager time. It can be some smaller things, it can be smaller things that, people can get frustrated and they feel emotionally hurt. They don't know where to talk, who to talk to, where to let it out. I think the professionals are absolutely excellent at supporting people at all different angle and different perspective.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I do want to add one more thing that I feel that this is just my personal opinion. I feel
Mhm.
that people are more open, especially before or during the COVID, because of COVID, because all of a sudden, almost like half of the people need help, right?
Mhm.
But I still think that in Asian community, that comparing to maybe the mainstream, we still have opportunities to be more open about if my child, like you said,
Mhm.
Joy, if some parent realize that their child, their spouse, their family member need help, encourage them and making that conversation as a dinner table conversation. It's nothing different than you're having a headache, you want to see a doctor. And I
Yeah.
think that's the common we want to see, right? So it's not something that we need to be ashamed of, even though there's a long history in my culture, we would call people who have mental health issue, we call them crazy people. And I think in that case, if we think about in workspace, we should be also conscious about our own language when we call some people that we may not necessarily like. Do we call them crazy people? When we do that, we are not doing a good to what we are talking about. Mental health issue is nothing different than a physical health issue.
Yeah, what I heard you have been saying is awareness, right? Awareness of the importance of wellness. It's kind of like a mouthful. It is important to take care of ourselves, not only the physical health, right? But also the wellness level. How are we feeling? Making sure we pay attention to that if we need help and find help from there. It probably will take some time, education, awareness, and practice, then gradually, hopefully more people are actually adopting. Yeah, this is normal. You just need to, you're looking for someone who is professional to talk to.
Yep.
But I see that component of, it's people being willing to say, hey, I'm not okay. You've mentioned Hope, what that looks like in the Asian community, but we also see it in the Black community, of Black women seemingly having to be the women that, their moms, their wives, they have to hold everything together. And then the same for Black men. So there's a concern of, well, if I say I need help, then I'm viewed as being weak. And it is, once again, if whether you notice it or someone says, I don't feel right mentally, it's recognizing that that's for them and it's okay.
Yeah.
Hey, what can we do to support you? There's no shame in that. Real quick story for me, when my oldest brother passed away 2 years ago from lung cancer, my youngest brother helped take care of him when he was transitioning in hospice. And after my oldest brother passed away, my youngest brother was like, how devastating that was for him. And he came to me and said, I think I need to go to therapy. And I said, you go right ahead. If that's what you need, go right ahead. And in that moment, he's indicating he thinks something's wrong with him. I said, there's nothing wrong with you. You just went through a period in which we watched our brother deteriorate from, lung cancer. And that can affect people in different ways. And for him, it was where he wanted to talk to someone, and I fully supported that in that moment. It wasn't, oh my gosh, people die every day, what is wrong with you? It's yes, absolutely. Do what you have to do for what you believe is right.
Sheila, you just suddenly reminded me when my father passed away suddenly due to the accident. That was, gosh, how many, 25 years ago. I was still a teenager. That was probably exactly what was happening on the other side. Like, okay, you're the oldest one, you got to top up, your mom is already overwhelmed, nobody's taking care of this whole funeral events. You're the oldest one, take responsibilities. I think the whole process was driven by responsibility. I don't think I even cried a lot. There wasn't time and space for you to cry. I think as I get older, a lot of time as I think I never properly grieved. I think my heart still has a big hole there. Maybe I need to find a therapist to talk about it, because I just feel like somebody is important. It's my father, and he passed away suddenly. There was no time to prepare for it. And funeral happened, and I was, directed right back to school. Like, okay, funeral's done, you good job, you're done, and go back to school, keep going, make your father proud. That was it, all these years.
Well, I think, thank you for sharing that experience. You bringing that up brings up something else related to grieving and for COVID, right? With COVID and the various lockdowns and restrictions that we had, a lot of people didn't get to experience funerals, which is part of the grieving process, have those last moments, all of that. So this once again kind of takes us full circle to there may still be people out there who, as a result of COVID, losing loved ones who haven't truly taken the time, made time for themselves, created space to properly grieve the loss of loved ones. Now, if there's some fortune in a pandemic, for the loss of my brother, he actually passed away probably a week or two before we went into lockdown here in Michigan. So we were able to come together as a family, have a funeral. The burial was a little different because we were limited as to the number of people who could attend at that moment. But at that time, we were grateful because there was talk of a pandemic, what that looks like, that we were able to at least come together and I'll say somewhat properly grieve in that moment to the loss of life. But you definitely touched on something, the importance of grieving, what that looks like for anyone.
I kind of, a lot of, in the recent years, there are a lot of conversations about empathy and be vulnerable. I really appreciate that. Maybe back to 3 years ago, I wouldn't be able to share all that because, maybe there wasn't enough space held for us to be vulnerable. So I actually really appreciate today that both of you are sharing and create this space for me to really think about myself. I did not expect that.
Absolutely. I want to go back to what you mentioned, Joy, that you were not able to appropriately grieve. And I think that is the society really put you into that position. What you have done during those years, those days, you were a priest. You were trusted by other people, and they think you're tough, you're strong, you're capable. This is what educated people would do. I'm sure there's something like that as well, which made you think, okay, if you think I'm strong, I can't grieve, I can't cry. If I do that, then I'm not strong as you said I
Yeah.
am anymore.
Yeah, because we don't want to disappoint people, right? We're all kind of like have a very high standard for ourselves and never let down other people's expectation putting on us. And we have to be conscious now with our kids and our friends and, you know, our coworkers at the office. Hopefully we are doing better. They can feel supported if there's any need.
Yes. So I think that's where I'm going. When we appraise certain behavior, we need to be also very conscious on, are we actually adding a pressure to that person? So
Mhm.
instead of assume certain things, we know as a coach, we ask them, how
Yeah.
do they feel? What
Mhm.
support do they need instead of making assumptions?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's a great message. So thank you both for sharing. It's definitely a timely topic as we have, once again, so much going on around us and continued talk regarding mental health. So appreciate you both as usual. Once again, good to see you. It's been a while since we've connected. So appreciate you both. This is Yeast, your energetic, authentic self today. And appreciate everyone. Have a great evening.
See you next time.
See
Bye.
you.